If your business runs on 5 different apps, 12 browser tabs, and one spreadsheet that everyone's afraid to touch, it's probably time for Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that connects every part of your business into one powerful, easy-to-use platform. So instead of wasting time switching between disconnected systems, your entire business works together in real time. Your team moves faster, your data stays accurate, and you can actually focus on growing your business. Let one unified system run your entire business. From the first opportunity to the final payment, everything works together in one place. Whether you're a small business or managing a large operation, Odoo gives you the flexible platform built to grow with you. Try it today for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, the show where we tackle the taboo topics of money and manifestation. I'm your host, Jen Schulz, former 9-to-5 grinder who ditched the status quo and went all in on creating a life I love. Expect expansive conversations, practical strategies, and plenty of reminders that there's more than one way to create a life you love. Ready to expand what's possible? Here we go. Welcome back to the Manifestation and Money Podcast. Today, we're going a little further down the money rabbit hole, but don't worry. I already know we're going to go wander over into manifestation territory too, because that's how we roll around here. So I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, and that is that the economy right now feels expensive. Groceries cost more, services cost more, housing costs more, insurance costs more. You get it. Sometimes it feels like you simply walk out your front door and somehow you've already spent $100. And when the cost of living rises faster than your income, something pretty simple happens. Your dollars don't go as far. And that's not mindset work. That's not a limiting belief. This is simply math. And here's where I think the conversation gets interesting, because we can look at inflation and ask, how do I cut back enough to survive this? Or we can also ask, how do I make more money in the economy that exists right now? And those are two very different questions. One is asking, how do I make my current dollars stretch further? And the other is looking at, how can I put myself in the path of more dollars? And there's nothing wrong with either approach. I honestly do both, sometimes simultaneously, but there are two very different feelings and vibes behind them. So let's take this conversation and zoom way out for a minute. There isn't a shortage of money in the economy right now. Essentially, when COVID slammed the brakes on the global economy, governments and central banks around the world took extraordinary measures to keep economies functioning. There were massive government support programs, interest rates dropped, central banks purchased enormous amounts of bonds through programs like quantitative easing, and you'll often hear all of that described casually, even by me, as the government's printing money. And technically, it is way more complicated than someone just firing up a giant printing press and sending stacks of cash out into the world. But the important piece for this conversation is that enormous amounts of financial stimulus entered the global economy at a rapid pace. And I find that really, really interesting from a manifestation perspective, because when things feel expensive, it's really easy to slip into the story of there's not enough money, but we just covered the point that there is money in the economy. So the question I'm asking you to ponder today is that actually true? Because in reality, like we just mentioned, there is an enormous amount of money moving through the economy every single day. People are buying things. Businesses are paying other businesses. People are paying for convenience. They're paying to solve problems. They're paying for entertainment, experiences, expertise. They're paying people to do things that they don't know how to do. And people are paying for things they simply don't want to do or have the time to do. So maybe a more useful question here isn't where's all the money, but maybe it's how can I put myself in the path of receiving some of the money in circulation? Because there's a lot of it and money likes to move. And if you create something that another person wants or needs, like a product, a service, or an experience, a solution, then you have the ability to participate in that movement of money circulation. And so often we are taught that your paycheck is your only option. It is the option. It's your golden ticket. Or like my last week's guest Stacy said, or maybe golden handcuffs, depending on how you look at it. For example, how many people do you know that were told to grow up, go to school, get a job, work for someone else? And I know that was me. I'm putting my hand up over here. This is where I think relying exclusively on a wage can become frustrating. If your groceries go up 8%, you can't necessarily walk into work tomorrow and announce, "Good morning, just letting everyone know I've increased my wage by 8% effective immediately." Now, that would be lovely, but your employer determines what they're willing and able to pay you. And so maybe you get like an annual raise, or maybe you negotiate one, maybe you change jobs, but there are limits to your control. And there are limits to what employers can do, as the cost of doing business has likely gone up for them too. Now, compare a single wage income stream with creating even just one small additional income stream of your own, and the world opens up. You can respond to the market. You can change your price with the market. You can offer something new. You can find another customer. You can experiment. You can pivot. And I think this is where manifestation and money beautifully overlap, because instead of saying, "This is how much money I make," we can start asking, "How much money can I create?" And that is exciting, and that is a wildly different energy. So we're not saying, "How much will someone give me?" but "What value can I create in exchange for money?" You don't need to get overwhelmed and think you need to start a business empire. So before your brain turns this into, "Oh, great, Jen, so now I need to become an entrepreneur, build a website, create a logo, start an Instagram account, make those dancing reels," that's not what I'm saying. You don't necessarily need a full-blown business. You need an exchange. Someone has a problem, desire, or need. You have a product, skill, asset, knowledge, effort, or solution, and they give you money, you give them value. That's it. Now, I'm not saying also to not go through the proper channels to set up a business properly. I'm simply saying don't overthink it. Instead, think about what value you want to bring to the table. And once you start looking through that lens, opportunities are everywhere. And I made a list to give you some ideas, and I'm going to read it to you. So maybe you're great at organizing and you offer to organize someone's pantry or garage. Maybe you love dogs, so you start pet sitting. Maybe you have a pressure washer sitting in your garage and you offer driveway cleaning. Maybe you make incredible birthday cakes and want to share your expertise. Maybe you're good at Canva and make social media graphics for local businesses. Maybe you clean Airbnbs. Maybe you photograph people's pets. Maybe you offer mobile car detailing. Maybe you tutor kids. I think you're getting the idea here. Maybe you sell garden seedlings. Maybe you assemble IKEA furniture. That's what I'd pay somebody to do. Maybe you teach beginner piano or babysit or sell digital templates, or maybe flip furniture or rent out equipment or supplies that you already own. Maybe you help seniors with technology. Maybe you sell things that people don't want to take the time to sell themselves, and then you split the proceeds. There are so many possibilities, and I want you to notice something. Most of these ideas don't require inventing anything revolutionary. You don't need the next billion-dollar idea. Sometimes making more money is simply noticing, "Oh, somebody would pay me to do that, and I don't mind doing that." I want to share a little story about my daughter Kinley that I saw kind of playing into this creative money-making type opportunistic mindset that we're talking about here today. So Chris and I have been giving the kids allowance this summer and taking them garage sailing on the weekends. And it's been really quite a lot of fun. It's been really eye-opening to see what our kids do put value on or do not, but mostly it's been really educational. We've seen the kids learn negotiating. We've seen buyer's remorse on more than one occasion. We've seen math skills develop. We've seen pride of ownership. As a parent, I'm highly recommending people try it as a teaching tool because it has been very impactful in a short amount of time. I want to share a particular incident that stands out for me from this summer that fits perfectly into this episode. So Kinley, well, all of us were out garage sailing, but Kinley spotted a Barbie house. She did not need a Barbie house as she already has a Barbie house. And as any parent will tell you, these Barbie houses take up a lot of room. So I watched her lay eyes on this thing. She walked straight towards it. She's touching it. She's exploring all the little details. And I knew she didn't have enough allowance money in her wallet to buy it. So I didn't really pay much attention to her. I actually thought she'd be more interested in the $2 bucket of Barbie accessories. But no, it was the house. So she approached me, and she didn't approach me like a kid begging for, sometimes they see candy when we're walking by in the grocery store. It wasn't like that. She approached me like a seasoned real estate investor presenting a deal. She had a proposal. She wanted the Barbie house. She didn't have enough money to buy the Barbie house. And the problem being she already owned another Barbie house. So her proposal was that I front the money to purchase this new house, and then she would need my help to list her old Barbie house for sale so that she could recoup the money and pay me back. I was impressed. As a mother who talks about manifestation and as a real estate investor, I don't know if I've ever been prouder, really. She was basically standing there proposing a leveraged Barbie real estate acquisition. And here's what I loved most. She didn't see not having enough money in her wallet as the end of the conversation or a problem. She knew what she wanted. Then her brain immediately started looking for solutions and opportunities. What resources do I have? Well, Mama's here. She has the cash. Dad is here. He has his truck. I already own an asset of equal value that I can sell. And I know kids like me like these things. So I know that there would be a buyer for this. So I have a plan to repay the money. She put together a deal in a very short amount of time that really gave me no reason to say no. So the next thing I knew, I was handing over $50 so she could buy this Barbie house. And then a week later, we sold her original house. So it was a done deal. Kids are incredible manifestors. As adults, we are really good at looking at what we currently have and deciding what is possible from there. Like, I only make this much money, or I don't have the money, I don't have the qualifications, I've never done that, or I don't know how. Kinley didn't have $50, but instead of making I don't have $50 the final conclusion, it became a problem to solve. And that's a huge distinction. She wasn't asking, do I have enough money to move forward? She was essentially asking, how can I make this work? And that is the question that I want you to play with this week. What can you create? What if you decided that you wanted to create an extra $100 this week? I'm not asking you to save $100, not cutting $100 out of your grocery bill. Create $100 that didn't exist in your personal economy before. What could you sell? What could you offer? What could you rent? What could you teach? What could you make? What problem could you solve? What could you resell? What do people regularly ask you for help with? What is sitting in your house collecting dust that someone else would happily exchange money for? And then maybe you expand that number to 500 or 1,000. Not from the energy of, ugh, everything is so expensive and I desperately need more money, because in manifestation, we know desperation doesn't get us anywhere, but from curiosity. I wonder how I could create an extra $500. We bring in the possibility, and now your brain has something expansive to work with. So this is where I like to say the woo meets the do, because manifestation isn't just sitting on your couch repeating, money is abundant, money is abundant, money is abundant, while refusing to put something into the marketplace. I absolutely believe our beliefs and our money matter. I believe expectations matter. I believe being open to opportunities matter. But then you've got to put a little action behind what you're wanting. So make the post, list the Barbie house, offer the service, tell people what you do, ask the question, try the idea, put the thing up for sale, put yourself in the path of all that circulating money out there. Because maybe the abundance isn't a mysterious check floating towards you from the universe. I'm not saying mysterious checks don't show up, but maybe abundance looks like an idea. Maybe it looks like noticing a problem that you could solve. Maybe it looks like realizing something you do effortlessly is valuable to somebody else. Maybe it looks like a Barbie dream house sitting at a garage sale and a kid who refuses to let the amount of cash in her wallet determine what's possible. So here's my playful challenge for you this week. Come up with 10 ways you can generate money using resources or things that you already have access to. Your skills, your knowledge, your stuff, your time, your creativity, your network, your experience. Don't worry about whether every idea is practical. Don't judge the ideas. Don't immediately Google whether somebody else is already doing it. Just get your brain practicing the question, how can I create more money? Because I promise you, there is money moving around this economy every single day. The question is, what value can you create that puts some of those dollars into your hands? And perhaps that's the manifestation experiment this week. Don't just ask the universe to send you more money. Ask it to show you where the money is already moving and how you can participate in it. That's all I have for you this week. Cheers to creating a life you love. I'll see you back here next week. Wait, before you go, I know you've got some big dreams and desires of your own calling to you. I'd love for you to come hang out with me inside Manifestation Playground on School. It's free to join, and you'll get instant access to the Manifestation Vault and an amazing community of fellow manifestors. Come in, drop me a hello, share a win, or just quietly binge the tools, your pace, your vibe. Head to manifestationplayground.ca, and I'll see you in there.